The conditions on a wartime U-boat just have to be, scarcely believed, frankly. I mean, they're astonishing.
Tell us about that.
Incredibly cramped. So your standard wartime U-boat was what was known as a Type 7. It's about 66 meters long, but if in terms of habitable space, if you imagine two underground carriages,
How many people?
That would have a crew of 50 plus engines, all the control mechanisms, all of the rest of it. And of course torpedoes, probably 14 torpedoes. So the ordinary men kind of sleep amongst the torpedoes, in hammocks and bunks and so on. A single patrol would be anything up to about 8 weeks, usually. In that period, they had fresh food for probably about 2 weeks, and they had tinned food, which brought with it challenges. And they essentially didn't wash. So the crew would, their fresh water was rationed, so you could wash with seawater if you wanted to. Most people didn't. So this sort of image that we have, this sort of romantic image which you see in Das Boot, for example, of the sort of luxuriously bearded U-boatman, that came with a stink, because they basically stank. They'd been away for 8 weeks, perhaps. One change of underwear was permitted, so you could smell them before you saw them. Right. So the beard was a sort of a signifier of the fact, basically, they hadn't washed and hadn't shaved, probably for 8 weeks. This U-boat stink is a thing, and you can see that it comes across in many of the accounts, and it's an unholy combination of BO, halitosis. Scurvy brings on gingivitis and the rest of it. That brings on pretty horrible halitosis. Diesel is everywhere in a U-boat. You've got 2 massive diesel engines going pretty much all the time, and of course mold. So you've got mold from everything is damp all the time. There's no facilities for drying anything, so everything is wet all the time. And of course, vomit, seasickness. So if you imagine that as one entity, that's the U-boat stink. And there are examples of U-boats coming into port and sort of flipping the conning tower hatch, and the shore crew actually recoiling in horror because of the stench that comes out of the thing. So it's a pretty grim story.